officially live.
Hey,
Everybody, Alex here from Aimfox, and with us today, again, I always say we have a special guest, but I really think that today's guest is special because it's somebody who is cut from the same cloth like me. With us today, we have Nikita from Maildoso, the founder of Maildoso. So, welcome to the show, my friend, and yeah, looking forward to chatting with you today.
thank you for having me.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm always excited when I do these things because I always try and bring on people who like really have specific domain expertise. And Maildoso, obviously, for those of you who don't know, and if you don't know, you've probably been living under the rock. Maildoso is one of the major email infrastructure providers for cold emailing. So if you're using Instantly, SmartLead, or Email Bison, or any other emailing sequencer, you need mailboxes, and Maildoso is one of the options you can go for. So yeah, I mean, as people are connecting and to the live, I'd love to start with just a little bit of like a backstory. So tell me, how did Maildoso start? When was it founded? And yeah, what made you start an email infrastructure company?
All right. Well, it all started with my previous company called backlinkswappers.com. By the way, this domain I bought in airport Nikola Tesla in Belgrade.
No way! I did
Yeah,
not
yeah,
know that.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, yeah,
Belgrade is
yeah,
a city that I'm from and that where most of our team is. Did you really? Wow, that's what a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah, this idea came to me in the airport when we were waiting for our flight. And like backlink swappers, it's essentially a marketplace for SEO professionals to, we were automating backlink exchanges. And because of the nature of the business, we had to be extremely targeted with who we working with. So like we could not run ads. So our primary, like the single one, the customer acquisition channel was cold email, and we never used like Gmail, something like this. So for just because I knew how to do the stuff ourselves. So and like mailboxes, they were the biggest bottleneck for us. So we were investing most of our time into cold email infrastructure rather in marketplace. But because marketplace is fairly simple, there is not that, like most of the time we were investing into this.
Yeah,
And then at
yeah.
some point when I was sharing with my friends how we automatically like we buy a ton of domains, automatically set up DNS records, spin up IP addresses and stuff. And they were like, their reaction was like, can you teach me how to do the same? I need to do cold email, but like I'm not nearly like,
And then
close
all of a
to.
sudden you productize it and you build a
Yeah.
product out of it.
Yeah.
When,
Essentially
when
we
so so
productize.
when was this? So when was this?
So like the official pivot or the,
Like
the.
what the official pivot, let's say. Yeah,
Okay, November 2023, I
yeah.
believe.
Yeah, that's somewhere around the time when I first, so in 2024 I think I first started using you guys because obviously like we were looking to scale our cold emailing infrastructure as a lot of people are. The whole GTME movement has been starting to pick up, and I know Maildoso was one of the first things picked up. You guys were doing really good marketing, on the Meta, on Facebook, influencers, like you were doing a really good job there. Like
Thank you.
one of the, I think like that's like one of the also one of the reasons that cold emailing is successful is because, as you said, of the underlying infrastructure. So you need to have the mailboxes, and the more emails you want to send, basically the more mailboxes you need. And like that's one of the things that like we one of the concepts that we want to bring from cold emailing into LinkedIn. We want to really make LinkedIn as scalable as cold emailing, right? Like you would rent mailboxes. We want to introduce the concept of like renting LinkedIn accounts easily, but just back to the mailboxes. So like, how have you seen that the mailbox limits evolve over time? Because I think a lot of the people that are here are doing cold emailing, and they probably started at some point. So like, how many emails were you sending initially per one mailbox? How many are you sending now? Like, how has that evolution taken place?
Okay. First of all, like let's ask can we ask
Yeah,
the audience? Okay, so
yeah.
can you type plus in the chat if you do cold email? Like if
Okay,
you
let's
sending
see.
cold emails.
Let's see how many are sending cold emails. Okay, well, I see. I see some pluses already popping up. Yeah.
Okay.
So as that's like ramping up, let's hear it. Like, what are the best practices, and how has that been evolving?
Okay, sure. So in the cold email space, there are a lot of rules that everybody is following, but nobody knows where do they coming from, and like like for example, what TLDs to use, how many mailboxes per domain to have, like how
Yeah.
many emails per day, and like there are like general rules. For example, vast majority of people, if you do cold email, most likely, and you use secondary domains, you have 3 to 5 mailboxes per domain, which is
Right.
general best practice. And at some point we decided like, okay, let's try and do something, like let's see what's going to happen if we start using like 20 mailboxes per domain. What's going to happen? And guess what's happened? Nothing.
But so I have a question on that. So okay, we're gonna get technical now. There are obviously like there is a limit on the mailboxes, but is it a limit on the number of mailboxes, or is it the limit on the domain, or is it the limit on the server on the IP? So like, where is that bottleneck? Like, where is it?
I actually don't know where this rule, like 3 mailboxes or 5 mailboxes per domain, came from. Like, it's just like, common thing that, just here, but like, why it's this way? I mean, 20 mailboxes per domain works as good as 3 mailboxes per domain.
Okay, but how many emails do you send
Oh, okay.
from that domain? That's the question. You can have 20 mailboxes sending 2 emails, or you can have 2 mailboxes sending 20 emails.
Okay.
So how does that work?
Yeah, we're going to get to this part as well. So like the first thing is that a lot of cold emailing rules that like a lot of experts share. They like if you start asking, like digging, you realize like these rules, they just here, and we do this because we did that. Uh, and then the same with the cold emails, with warm-ups, with everything, like with a lot of stuff. Some people like prefer, this is what I hear from different people in the market, like let's send 20 warm-up emails per day and 20 cold emails per day.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
do.
Okay. Yeah. And this approach might work with Google mailboxes, probably because if you push the boundaries, if you start pushing sending more mailboxes, more emails, your mailboxes might get suspended. And but we also questioned like what's going to happen if we start sending 200 warm-up emails per day or 1,000 warm-up emails per day.
Yeah.
Per mailbox, and see what's happened. And guess what's happened? Nothing. But what we've noticed is that cold email to warm up ratio actually affects deliverability, affects long-term campaign performance, copy fatigue, and stuff. So our current recommendation to our customers is to send 80 warm-up emails per day and up to 15 cold emails per day. So what you want to do is to have, so like the warm-up emails, they're going to offset the negative signals that your emails receiving, so that they kind of create, like keep your reputation positive. We've noticed that if you have this ratio 1 to 10, like for every cold email you send 10 warm-up emails, you almost never have deliverability issues, at least with Gmail. With Outlook, it's a whole different story.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a good Outlook. Yeah, let's not start with Outlook. It's that's the thing about the industry. Us from LinkedIn, you for cold emailing, but like a lot of these rules, so to say, come from speculation. Somebody said, and then another tool picked it up, and then they picked it up. At the end of the day, like, I don't think many tools or many people are really extensively pushing the tests to test this.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, you're a founder of an amazing tool. We are founders of a tool, and we try and really always have a lot of different test environments for different premises we want to test. Because they say like, oh, you can only send this many free emails on LinkedIn, or you can only do this. And sometimes they are hard limitations. But I think with LinkedIn, things are a little more straightforward. I think with emailing, you just have like a lot of speculation happening. So, and again, there are a lot of other moving parts, because you have to look at bounce rates, you have to look at the success, like how many replies you're getting, how many spam reports you're getting, and then like also, and I'm gonna ask you this, like like why do you suggest, which I suppose you do, private SMTP servers from Gmails that you rent, like warmed up Gmail accounts? What is the advantage of one over the other, and what is the disadvantage?
Okay, sure. So like first of all, I stopped using Gmail for cold email, like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 years ago. At this time, somebody suggested me to try SendGrid, and we immediately start seeing great results. It turns out the Gmail, sometimes they kind of they start, like filtering you not on the receiving part, but on the sending part. Like, your sending actions actually can trigger something, and then your emails will start landing in spam. That's one of the reasons why, like people recommend 20 warm-ups and like 20 cold emails for Gmails, because if you start sending 80 warm-up emails on Gmail mailboxes, your mailboxes might get suspended. And
okay.
We see this problem right now with our own Google score, like, which is it's been disabled for a few months now, and it's a headache for me, because we need to have a few hundred Google mailboxes to run spam tests of our.
Of course.
Yeah. And but then we keep running into this problem that they are getting suspended because of the different reasons, and it's like, I don't know, 3 times in a row, and the setup is always a headache. At least for us, it's my experience. I'm not like, I'm sure you can like go to instantly and easily buy, I don't know, like $10 a month, mailboxes, but. Yeah.
But like like in all honesty, like so I think instantly sells Gmails only, I think. But then again, like what I like about you guys, or the way your thing is set up, is that you have you have like ultimate control over the reputation of your server, at the end of the day. So like, it might be for a little bit more advanced users in a sense, because you really have to keep track of all these things. And there are some kind of unique things that you can do. For example, if I understood correctly, warm-up emails, you said, yes, 10-to-1 ratio, but only if you're doing a private server, right? Not if you're doing Gmail. So like,
it's actually like this rule works for all sorts of them, like, regardless. But
okay.
like, if you start sending like 80, 100 warm-up emails per day, your Gmail account might get suspended. And then you have, but it helps with copy fatigue, like or domains, getting burned and stuff.
How do you see copy fatigue? Like, that's also one interesting question for me. Like, because I think a lot of use cases are just users just having a syntax that is okay for their copy. And is that enough? Like, can you send thousands and thousands of emails of the same copy without that deliverability silently going down and thus impacting reply rates?
Yeah. So like the more, so first of all is cold email to warm up ratio. The bigger this ratio, the less problems you're gonna have with your like with campaigns, and copy fatigue will maybe it will never happen. Our goal is to make email infrastructure so advanced, and we like really so many backend features so advanced, so that you just you make a simple sequence, you launch, and then you forget about it. You don't need to manage anything, and then you just keep getting great results even 6 months after. And I believe we are very, very close to that. And like, however, the syntax definitely helps with creating, but like if you do this right, if you just put a couple of words into syntax, it's not going to trick Google's algorithms. You need to syntax the whole thing, including like the subject line. It just creates a lot of variations, and then when their machine learning algorithm identify copy, like a specific copy that being marked as spam more often, they start blocking it. And because you have syntax, you have a ton of other variations that are not blocked yet. But copy fatigue still will happen as you keep sending emails.
It is, at the end of the day, it is like a catch and mouse game in both the things we do. So like, I know like something like that, like we are super excited to have launched recently for Aimfox is the ability to, as I said, like to rent LinkedIn accounts. So like,
this is extremely interesting.
Like a lot of the things that that like you are talking about, like for like the reputation and all of that stuff for cold emailing, like we have to look at a lot of that stuff for LinkedIn outreach for these LinkedIn accounts, because the goal is to build an account that for us does not get banned. So like the vision that I have, and why I am very passionate about cold emailing, my vision is I really want to build Aimfox into a product that you can really scale LinkedIn outreach with. How do you do that? You rent LinkedIn accounts from Aimfox. You customize these LinkedIn accounts, and then you can scale your outreach basically the same way you scale things the same way you do things on cold emailing. So that's
Sorry to interrupt. Just out of curiosity, how many, like, can I rent like 2,000 LinkedIn profiles? Like, how would it?
Okay. So well, 2,000 is a big number. Like it would take us a little bit of time to deliver this, but yes. So the goal for us is we have a system where we build and warm up all of these accounts in-house. So we have like a
Amazing.
pipeline every week where we get hundreds of new accounts available. So like, if you were to tell me like, I need as many accounts as you can give me today, I could probably give you like 500 to 600 LinkedIn accounts,
Okay.
to scale.
Okay.
So, but like we are getting to a stage where, we are going to have even more available because again,
Okay.
it gives you a lot of options that's quite
Yeah.
unique for LinkedIn. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can easily see you guys probably gonna get, we'll so we'll sell everything that you register, and like you might run into very huge
Yeah.
demand for this. Yeah,
I mean,
because
we've been kind of quiet about launching this because we already see that there is a lot of demand, and we want to
yeah.
make sure that we can fulfill like all the orders. And we launched this in app. So in app on Aimfox, you can get these accounts, but we are reluctant to really promote it because everything we have, it sells out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and they say it's a nice problem to have, but trust
Yeah.
me, it's a very shitty problem to have. Like, when you don't,
I
when
I
you
know it. I was in your shoes. Like, I
like,
mean,
like, yes, we
yeah,
have the demand. Like, it's nice, we're selling everything almost that we have, but then I'm like, why don't we have more? But we are working on establishing the pipeline and of having basically an abundant supply of LinkedIn accounts that users can get. Of course, there is a bit of a difference here because, like, mailboxes go for cheap when you look at it. LinkedIn accounts, we price this at $99 a month with the LinkedIn seat included in the price. So it's still like very competitively priced. But I mean, compared to mailboxes, it's obviously going to be a little bit more expensive than a mailbox. But again, it's a bit of a different approach.
yeah. I totally get it. Like to get LinkedIn profiles, it's a lot more complicated. The process is more complicated. The warm up phase, you cannot yeah.
See,
But
that's the thing. What
very
what what
interesting that
become
you.
what becomes complicated is that you touched on it, like, is the warm up process. So when we deliver these accounts to users, we want to make sure that these accounts have like 300, 400, 500 connections, that they are real connections, so not like fake connections. So it takes us months and months to get a LinkedIn profile sales ready. We put it on Aimfox, we automate, it grows, but then like it takes time. So like everything I do today, I'm going to get it in like 4 or 5 months. So now we're selling things that we have started planning beginning of year. But yeah, it's a little bit more hands-on, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's very cool. If you can figure out how to scale this account creation and do, I don't know, like thousands of new accounts per week, it's going to be like a gold mine.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, but like a gold mine for us, but also a gold mine for the users, because it's kind of like the scale of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like the scale for LinkedIn hasn't been really tapped into, right? It just
Exactly.
hasn't been scalable up to date. This is like, and I think it's going to be a very, very good use case. So just going back to the comments, we have quite a few. You did ask for a plus, and you got a lot of pluses here coming up of people using cold emailing. So I know we're hitting the right audience for sure. Let's see if we can pull up a question and kind of just like chat about it. So I'm just going through the questions. If you see anything you want to tackle, let me know. And yeah, by the way, guys, feel free to ask questions in the comments. So we are going through the comments section now, and we'll pick a few questions that we see are interesting. So yeah, let me see. Okay. So, with 80 warm-up emails on Maildoso mailboxes, what's the safe daily cold email limit for that mailbox, Nikita? That's a question for you.
Yeah. So as I said, you want to get the warm up to cold email ratio as close to 10 as possible. So in other words, if you send 8 cold emails per day, you almost never have any, like you're not gonna have any deliverability issues. But we recommend 15 because like 8 is too low probably. You can go to 15, and this approach works great. I know a lot of our customers, they prefer to send 10 cold emails per day per mailbox, and it works great for them. So you can experiment and see what works, but you can also stick to our recommendations, like 15 cold emails. Yeah, it's a good approach.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I have a kind of a question out of my curiosity. If you're okay answering it, like, what is the most emails that one client is sending? Like, are you open to like giving us? Do you have a number there, just to kind of pique the curiosity of people in the audience?
Um, our biggest customers, they have over 10,000 mailboxes.
Oh shit.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the biggest like a cold email account and the volume that I saw, because like these guys, I don't know how many emails they send, at
But
least
ten
many
but
from.
10,000 mailboxes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's millions of emails a month. I
yeah,
was
yeah.
actually I did a sales call recently, with a big agency, and they told me they're like, oh, we sent quite a few cold emails. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, how many do you send? Uh, and they're like, between 60 and 80,000 new leads every day. I'm like, new leads? Okay, like, how many emails is that? And they're like, oh, it's like millions of emails a month. We're like, wow, okay, cool. So you really do have people scaling this. But I think, like, it's also important, like different use cases. You need to have a big total addressable market if you want to be able to really send that many emails and stay relevant. Because as you said, like, if you're sending irrelevant emails, you're going to get penalized. At the end of the day, regardless of how many warm-ups you do, all the hygiene stuff, I really think that the outreach needs to be relevant for the audience that you are reaching out to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and your offer should be good if you really want to crush it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, 100%. So I know before our call, like, you said that you have a guide, like a best practice guide, for people sending cold emailing. Now, like, I think you shared us a link, and I'm not sure if Xenia or somebody from your team sent the link in the chat, but I think it's a really good resource to have. This one, yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Xenia just sent it. So the deliverability guide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So essentially, Maildoso, as like we send over 10 million cold like emails per day for our customers, and we analyze every single successful campaign. We know exactly what's working, what's not, and how to make cold email scalable, how to make it work for you. And we essentially put together like major rules that you want to follow if you want to have great deliverability all the time. And our biggest customers, they follow these rules religiously, and that's how they get amazing results. And there is also a question, like I didn't catch what to use for mail instead of Gmail. Yeah, of course, Maildoso. And a lot of our customers, they actually see better results with us than with Gmail. And also with Maildoso, it's like easy to scale your campaigns. Like you can set up your mailboxes in like 5 minutes, even if you need like a few hundreds. And it's a lot more cheaper than Gmail. And also we provide domains for free. So if you want to get free domains for your cold email campaigns.
Oh, I remember that. That's one of the hooks that made me. So I was before Maildoso we were using Mailreef, I think, and this was one of the cool features that you guys were. By the way, do you still do? And it's month to month, right?
No, we have quarterly plans.
It's a quarterly plan. I remember that. It was a quarterly plan, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but
nobody
is really switching month to month.
Yeah, so like we to make domains, like we essentially, to make to provide domains for free, we need to make sure like you on a quarterly plan, but we're rolling out the monthly also.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I see a question here for me. So how would the funnel continue after it starts with a fake profile? So we're talking about LinkedIn outreach here.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of bad potential here. I mean, this is a very good question, and it hits straight in, like, this is the biggest issue currently if you're getting like bad LinkedIn profiles from different providers. So I think the first step is you need to make sure that you customize this profile so that it looks as authentic as possible. By default, we make sure that the location of this profile is in Europe or is in the US. If you're selling to that audience, we make sure it has a very good first and last name, and it has a very good profile photo. We give you the option to customize company experiences, about section, banner photo, like, you can do all of that. That's important because that's like kind of like the first thing that the people see, that you reach out to. Now, about the funnel continuing after. So the way the funnel works is, for example, you have 100 LinkedIn profiles with us, or 10 or whatever. You send connection requests. Those connection requests get accepted. And once those connection requests get accepted, you have an option to send them a message sequence. So you send them a message sequence, and the goal is to get a reply. Now, when you get a reply, that's when the message sequence stops, and that's when you can start chatting with the lead. Now, what I've seen as good practice is to kind of do the general information there, but quickly hand off the communication to the real LinkedIn profile holder, like somebody who really works in the company. Because if you're looking to book a call with somebody, your approach needs to be like, hey, I'm just a SDR here. I'm reaching out. I'd love to intro you to my manager, to my colleague who handles onboarding, to my sales team, etc. So there are two ways you can do this. One is sending a scheduled link for them, or introing them through LinkedIn and handing off the communication. Now, one more thing that I've seen work really, really well, and we are testing this on our dev environment, is using voice notes on these rental accounts. So instead of sending a first message, you send a voice note, and that voice note basically just verifies that you're a real person. So then all of a sudden you remove that question like, hey, is this a real person? And it looks very, very authentic, and then you take the conversation from there. So there are a lot of things that you can do with Aimfox. You can automate reactions to posts, etc. But I think it's very important, Martin, that you do build a funnel that makes sense at the end of the day. So let's see if we have some more interesting questions popping up here. Here is one for Marin. Nikita, I'll let you handle this one.
Yeah, it's a good question. So the Outlook is a bit of a headache recently. What we see, what works is having aged domains, like if they older than 1 year, maybe potentially a couple of years, or at least you need to wait for a few months, because they really start to penalize fresh domains, even for even those that are not used in for outreach. Of course, you cannot send to Outlook from Gmail. Microsoft, like, for some reason, they just heavily penalize Gmail for Outlook outreach. And then there was a news, they even blacklisted like the whole Gmail, the Microsoft. So like everything that was sent from Gmail was like went to spam. It
Wow.
was a huge scandal about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third advice would be is to limit number of emails you send to Outlook from your domains. It's probably, so you want to be on a low end. So the fewer emails per domain you send, the better. I would recommend to start with just like like 5 cold emails per day per domain, and see how it works for you. Um, yeah, and like this is if you want to have like scalable campaigns for Outlook. I would recommend, like, with Outlook you would need a lot more domains than normally you would have. Yeah, and of course you can experiment with like one, like with in this case you might want to have just one mailbox per domain, and then go with
Mm.
domain.
I have a question for myself. Is there an easy way to get aged domains? Because all of the domains that I've seen that you're purchasing through tools such as yours, if I understand correctly, it's newly created domains, right? Available domains. So like, is there an easy and like cost efficient way to get domain aged domains?
There are auctions like that. You can go and buy aged domains. Probably it's going to be like a little bit a headache. And of course, you can buy new domains for yourself and just age them.
Yeah.
One of the things that also I wanted to briefly mention about, like, all those rules that everybody's following, but nobody knows where do they come from. For example, there is a belief that .com domains for cold email work the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Is
but
it true?
yeah, at some point, uh, mm, at some point we decided, like, okay, let's test what's going to happen if we buy cheap, .click domains for just, I don't know, they cost like $1 or something, and see what's going to happen. A lot of people would say they look unprofessional, their deliverability is lower, and stuff like that. But we launched a campaign, and on non-branded domains, they had like random words not connected with Maildoso, all .clicks, and we saw like exactly the same reply rate as we usually would see on branded domains in .com area. So for our personal outreach, we don't use .com at all, because for us it's like doesn't make any sense, because
Yeah.
we know that .clicks are cheaper. And then the answering your question, like how would you get H domains, my recommendation would be is to kind of stick to like cheap TLDs, and then buy a lot of domains in advance, and then you might not necessarily need to set up mailboxes on them. Just let them age for a few months, and then you can connect a new um, ESP provider, and start using for, especially if you are an agency, like you might want to get like generic domains, like in bulk, for yourself, and
Yeah.
just do the same thing as you guys do. Just
But honestly, it's so awesome that like we are able to really kind of debunk some of these theories. And again, like this is not coming from anybody; it's coming from you. So there is authority behind it, and I think a lot of people need to hear this. I think people that are not on this live and are doing cold emailing, they are missing out. So by the way, like if you, for the audience in here, feel free to share this live after the recording, after it completes, because I do really think that we are debunking some big topics here. I'm going to handle another question from the audience. Excuse me. So Pinaki, Alex, can you share the top differentiators that will lead a person for Aimfox over HeyReach? So HeyReach is a great tool to start with that. So they are really built for agencies just like we are. So in terms of differentiating factors, we have, I would say that Aimfox is covering all of the features that an agency needs, and that HeyReach I also think is covering. So both of us, we would all have workspaces, we would have multi-account campaigns, all of these integrations that you need. What's unique for us is, for one, obviously the LinkedIn account rental. So that is the biggest feature that sets us apart. It's that we give our users the option to rent LinkedIn accounts to scale. On HeyReach and on any other LinkedIn outreach tool for that matter, you are only limited to the LinkedIn accounts that you have. And we make it very seamless and very native. So that's one. Also, we have a native Sales Navigator integration, which means that basically what that means is that you just need one Sales Navigator account. You can use that one Sales Navigator account to identify all the leads, and then we give you the option to distribute those Sales Navigator leads to non-Sales Navigator accounts for outreach. So you can use your 10, 15, 20 free or rented LinkedIn accounts to outreach to Sales Navigator leads. So we do some cool functionalities like that. Again, we do have some advanced AI variables. We do have some smart time zones, a bunch of little different features. But I would say these two are probably going to be the main.
Yeah, and I must say, at Maildoso, we use Aimfox and have been using it for quite some time. We are a happy customer. Can't recommend it enough to other people. When somebody asks me what tool should I use, I don't know, we use Aimfox, and we are happy with this.
I know. I'm happy. I'm really happy to hear that. Because we did, when we were starting out. So Aimfox launched end of last year, beginning of this year. But we were using Maildoso as part of our stack to grow. So I'm definitely really happy to hear that. So we have quite a few more questions here. I'm gonna just scroll really quickly through them and see if anything else pops up. But yeah, on that note, everybody, we are going to be wrapping this up pretty soon. So if there are any last minute questions anybody wants to ask, go ahead. Now is the moment. Yeah, I see Ivan. So the question is, voice notes. Can you send voice notes with Aimfox? I was not clear enough about this. We are currently testing this on the dev environment. We are going to push this feature live for everybody very, very soon. So we are in the final stages of testing. We have a V1 live, which allows you just to send voice notes through the Unibox. However, not through campaigns. So that's coming really, really soon. Yeah, I think we can sort of wrap this up. I think it's been a very interesting session. I think you debunked some of the honestly myths that I was and my team have been following. So for one, I'm very grateful for that, because I think we're going to be changing how we do things on our side. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for joining. We did share the link of that deliverability guide, so everybody should definitely check that out. And then, like, once we circulate the recording of this live, like, feel free to share it with your audience, because I think we covered some pretty cool things.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and it was a very interesting conversation.
Likewise. And yeah, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to catching up offline, because I have a few more questions for you I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.